Mention health and safety to any business person and you'll get a whole range of reactions, from a cough against a hand to being shown a whole range of awards they've been given for being caring bosses. But it's an issue that affects everyone. That it deals with the public, whether it be shops, businesses, hospitals or schools. And it can range from covering things like backache, back injuries, to falling off ladders, to fatalities, especially on construction sites. To get even a small window on the massive legislation that health and safety deals with will be very difficult. But today we've been very fortunate to meet Mike Waters, who has just given a talk to the Kent Health and Safety Group, which incidentally is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. Mike very kindly spoke to us.
You know, our job is very, very varied. If the health and safety executive cover health and safety at a particular work site, then we can look at anything and everything in that workplace. Our job tends to be based around one, reacting to accidents and incidents, and then on the other side of that doing some proactive work such as things like this, interviews, talks, and going out doing sort of spot check inspections, which is a different side to the coin. Couriers and carpet companies are all part of a campaign that HSE and local authorities have been running called Moving Goods Safely. So it's looking at the movement of goods from point A to point B and how health and safety is being looked after. And in amongst that, we're looking at falls from vehicles, slips and trips, and certainly with couriers and carpet companies, it's manual handling. In the carpet industry, you could be handling rolls of carpet up to 250, 300 kilos in weight. So the main issues have been manual handling based.
Yes.
So the projects that we've been doing have been trying to deal with those issues.
Mike, earlier in the talk you were mentioning that pesticides can be quite a problem, particularly during the spring and summer. Could you give us some details on that, please?
Yeah, we're very fortunate in Kent to be a very rural county, so there's a lot of agricultural work going on. We've got the apples and pears and soft fruit, and in amongst that you're going to have chemicals being applied to those crops. Now if that is done properly, it's not a problem, but when you've got high winds and the job needs to be done when it's not raining, then potentially problems can occur, and what we don't want is people being oversprayed or the pesticide causing problems to neighbours. So it's really doing the job properly and carefully about it.
Yes. What sort of advice would you give to farmers? Presumably you meet with them quite regularly. Do you give them specific advice?
Farmers get quite a lot of advice, one from HSE, from our website, plus from the National Farmers Union. The advice I would give is, obviously you don't spray in very, very windy conditions, because that's when the spray drift is going to go over the boundaries and maybe affect neighbours. If you are spraying up next to a boundary fence of a neighbouring property, then it might be good practice to just let them know that you're going to be spraying so they can shut their windows and keep indoors for that time. So it's general good practice, and there's lots and lots of information on our website on it.
And migrant workers, another issue you touched on in your talk, particularly with the caravans that are providing for their accommodation while they're over here. Quite a problem, I hear.
It's a potential problem that I think there are issues there that need to be dealt with. We've got a lot of workers, certainly in Kent, that have come in from Poland, Latvia, Bulgaria, that have come into work, and they're being provided with poor accommodation, whether it be at a food factory or on an agricultural premises. There's electrical problems, gas problems, fire safety issues, and you know that there is going to be a project happening from April onwards looking at accommodation for migrant workers, because what we don't want is those workers being put at risk whilst they're working in the UK. The worst part of the job is dealing with a fatal accident, and unfortunately in Kent we've got a good number of fatal accident investigations on the go in HSE. Dealing with bereaved families because of a work-related accident that probably should never have happened is the worst part of the job. But what we've got to look at is how can we prevent it happening again, and therefore we can have learning points coming out from it. One family has suffered quite a lot, but hopefully others won't suffer in the future because of what we've done.
Thank you, Mike.